The history of music is filled with mysteries, conspiracy theories, and bizarre coincidences, but none are as intriguing as Everyday Chemistry, the alleged lost Beatles album from a parallel universe. In 2009, a man known only as James Richards made a shocking revelation. He claimed to have obtained an unreleased Beatles album, not just a simple bootleg or forgotten recording. According to him, Everyday Chemistry came from an alternate universe where the band never broke up. James's story sounds like something out of science fiction. He recounts that while driving through the California desert, he saw his dog run off. As he chased it, he tripped over a rabbit hole and lost consciousness. When he woke up, he found himself in a strange house where a mysterious man explained that he had been transported to a parallel reality. In this reality, the Beatles were still together and still making music. His host showed him a cassette tape labeled Everyday Chemistry. It was a brand new Beatles album containing songs no one had ever heard before. In a moment of either cunning or desperation, James took the tape and managed to escape back to his own world. Upon returning, he digitized the songs and made them available for free online. The tracks are striking. They capture the essence of the Beatles, but sound like a fusion of their solo careers. There are echoes of Paul McCartney's 1980s style, John Lennon's late 70s sound, George Harrison's mystical touch, and Ringo Starr's signature rhythm. This has led many to suspect that Everyday Chemistry is actually an elaborate mashup, a sophisticated collage of samples from the Beatles' post-breakup careers. Some theorize that Everyday Chemistry was created by an extremely talented musician or producer from our own universe, possibly Richard D. James, the man behind Aphex Twin. The similarity in their names, combined with Richard James's production skills, has fueled speculation. If anyone could pull off something like this, it would be him. But the question remains, is this an incredibly well-crafted hoax, or could it be evidence that parallel realities truly exist? Regardless of the truth, Everyday Chemistry remains one of music's most fascinating mysteries, a glimpse into a what-if scenario where the Beatles never broke up, where the music never stopped, and where, just maybe, a man really did cross into another dimension just to bring back an album. In James's account, he mentions tripping over a rabbit hole, perhaps a clue referencing Alice in Wonderland, a book John Lennon was very fond of. Take I Am the Walrus, for example. The song was inspired by the long poem The Walrus and the Carpenter, which appears in Through the Looking Glass, the sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. In a 1980 interview with Playboy magazine, John Lennon was asked, "What about you being the walrus?" To which he replied, "John Lennon, the song came from the walrus and the carpenter in Alice in Wonderland. To me, it's a beautiful poem. It never occurred to me that Lewis Carroll was talking about the capitalist system and all that. I never questioned what he really meant, like people do with the Beatles' work. Later, looking at the poem more closely, I realized that the walrus was the villain of the story, and the carpenter was the good guy. So I thought, oh shit, I picked the wrong guy. I should have said, I am the carpenter. But that wouldn't have had the same effect, would it? Singing, I am the carpenter. The lyrics of I Am the Walrus also reference an Eggman, a figure that ties back to Through the Looking Glass as the poem is recited to Alice by Tweedledum. But there's more. Enter Setealém. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. This quote from Anais Nin resonates with those who dare to question reality. What if the world around us is merely a reflection of our perception? What if there are hidden cracks, passageways to places that shouldn't exist? That is the story of Setealém. There are no maps, no records, only scattered accounts from those who claim to have seen, heard, felt, and never been the same again. The first stories emerged in obscure corners of the internet. People who took a bus and ended up in a place they didn't recognize. Dead-end streets, buildings that shouldn't be there, an eerie silence. A city shrouded in dark hues, illuminated by a red sun. At first glance, its inhabitants seemed normal, but something was off. The way they spoke, the way they looked at you, the way they moved. Witnesses reported that their eyes were too dark, their faces somehow wrong. And there was always a warning: do not eat anything in Setealém. Do not accept anything from its inhabitants. Never look back. The stories about Setealém soon intertwined with a broader phenomenon, the theory of reality shifting. According to this belief, it's possible to cross into other dimensions using only the power of the mind. One of the most popular methods, the Alice in Wonderland technique. Visualize yourself falling down a rabbit hole. Let your mind drift away. If done correctly, you'll open your eyes in another world. And Setealém, many believe it's one of those destinations. What if someone unknowingly followed this method without realizing it? What if Setealém is a distorted reflection of our own world, where everything is almost the same, but just slightly wrong? That's exactly what happened to James Richards, or so he claims. What no one tells you is that years later, James was sifting through old Beatles reports while handling his everyday chemistry tape when he stumbled upon a photograph of a man he knew well, the man who had helped him in the other reality. His name? Magic Alex. The Beatles' eccentric inventor, a man whom John Lennon once called a genius, but whom many consider a fraud. Coincidence or a fragment of a lost reality? Is this all just a modern legend, a psychological game fueled by our own paranoia? Or is there something more? Tales of impossible places aren't new. History is filled with accounts of ghost towns, villages that appear and vanish, roads that never lead to the same place twice. Perhaps the truth lies hidden between the lines. Maybe Setealém isn't just a myth, but a crack in the foundation of reality, a doorway between dimensions, a flicker of something lurking beyond perception, or merely an echo of our subconscious reflecting our deepest fears. The human mind is a labyrinth of perceptions. What we call reality may be just one version among infinite possibilities. Whether Setealém, reality shifters, or everyday chemistry are real, we may never know. But one thing is certain, stories like these keep surfacing, people keep getting lost, and every now and then someone boards the wrong bus and never comes back. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any new videos. Comment below if you think the narration has improved and whether everyday chemistry is real or just a well-crafted hoax. Let's discuss.